Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. I'm going to do something a bit different, although it's similar to things I've done before. We're going to have a quick look at all my orchids, but I'm going to go round them as best I can by genus. So we'll group them together. It's going to mean flicking around a bit because in some cases they're not all in the same place. So we'll start with the ones that are in the way, which is the Cymbidiums. Now, a relatively new genus, but becoming a bit old hat now. Generally speaking, I do pretty good with these. We've had a good show in most cases. We've put on big bulbs. I'm generally pleased throughout. We do have one dodgy one there that I'm pretty sure has got a virus. I'm waiting for the new growth to push on, but already, if you have a look, that new growth is coming up there, and if I follow it up, that leaf there has already got the dreaded marks on it. That's not going to focus at this range. Let's come out a bit. Perhaps you can see it. So I'm relatively certain that one is virus, and if it is, it will be thrown out. But I'm just going to give it another few weeks to let those leaves open, but I'm relatively confident, so that one will go. This is the only one I've got that's not doing very well, although it has a smashing big fat new growth coming up. But I'm going to repot this into a smaller pot and cut off the back end of the plant, because it's a waste of time, basically. That'll get it into a more compact pot, where hopefully it'll grow a more compact but more vigorous root system. They do like being in small pots. But generally speaking, we've got nice big healthy growths coming. It's that time of year now. I forget which one it was. One of them had so many new growths on it, I had a job to count. I think it was this one. This is the one that's going to the Orchid Society to be sold. Our next meeting is the AGM and plant auction. So if I put it in the plant auction with no reserve, it's got to go. And it's just because the blooms are similar to tiger tail, but not as good. This being tiger tail. This also being the last of the Cymbidium blooms for this season. Now I do have one that's a late summer bloomer, which could start the season off, but there's no sign of spikes yet. So that's the Cymbidiums. Relatively new genus. I think the first one I got was 1923, I think. So we've only been doing them a few years. Right, so I'm getting up in the corner here. Now, as we're going by genus, these two here are Zygopetalums, as is that one. I thought that was a spike for a minute. It's just a leaf with a brown bit on. That's the Zygopetalum species, crinitum. One of those is an unnamed hybrid and the other one is Louisendorf. Those two are coming back into growth. They're not happy plants. This one is. It's got 3 fabulous new growths on it, but no sign of a spike yet. And this one here I've talked about in the past. This is my only Latoria type Dendrobium that just will not bloom. It's got a new growth coming, but that's as good as it gets. It grows a new growth every year. You know, it grows up to full size. This was last year's. 3 leaves on each thing. Puts up the sheath, but it just never blooms. Now up in this corner, I won't be able to show them in great detail. I'm not moving all the plants out of the way. We have a single vander, which since I put in this basket is improving. Roots are growing, so we have active roots now, and we have an active growing tip. But that's my only vander. I certainly won't get any more because they don't do that well. It's not warm enough in the winter. Next to that is Brassia verrucosum, which has a nice strong new growth coming. The previous growth was big enough to bloom. It didn't because it wasn't on a big enough plant. It was the best part of quite a big plant as a division. Next to that is my Laelia anceps, which is still, it's pushed out some new roots since it was potted up, but it still hasn't pushed out a new growth. But it's not a strong plant. Next to that is my only remaining Cattleya, and I don't think it's going to last much longer. It just won't grow. Again, too cold in the winter for it. And then here, this is the Catatanti. It's Oncostelli technically, but an Oncidium intergeneric. And this is the one I'm keeping dry. And I mean I'm keeping dry. This has had next to no water for 3 months. It's had one trickle. And that's to see if I can stress it enough to see if it'll bloom. We will see. I mean, I've got 2 of them and the other one's getting treated normally. This is a Bratonia, so that's a cross between a Brassia and a Miltonia, and it's Shelob Marie. And there, again, that's 2 of them. There's one up the back there with 2 nice new growths. Oh, hang on, we're zoomed in, aren't we? You won't be able to see a thing. Oh no, I did zoom out. 2 nice new growths on that one, and 2 nice new growths on this one. One of them's got better roots than the other. This is my only thingy. I can never remember what this is. Nope, can't remember. It's really meaningful. And the rest of this tray are Oncidium type rescues of some sort or another. Now, I'm not going to get each one out, but there are only 1.5 of these that have not decided to root yet. All the others are starting to produce roots. I don't know whether this is one of the ones that isn't. You're going to just slip out the pot. Yeah, that's one of the ones that isn't, but it does have a new growth. It actually has 2 new growths, so that could produce some roots. But most of them have now got roots. Epidendrum, it's just come back to me. It just won't grow. I think probably the only way I can get it to grow is to take this kiki off and pot it up separately in a small pot, keep it moist, keep it bright. So we may do that. That's the other Catatanti, that's the one I do water. So that's pushed on quite a few new growths and everything, but still no blooms. Waste of time. Right, this is Prosthechea radiata. I do believe we've got a spike on that growth there just starting, so that'll be in bloom in the not too distant future. Highly fragrant, that one. That's a species Prosthechea, which is Pachycephalum, that one. This one is one of the what I thought were I'll pick that up in a minute, Prosthecheas, but it's a Guerrechia, and it's Black Comet. It's not a happy plant, this one, but it's showing signs of pushing up some new growths. If those can get going, it might pull up. It's grown some new roots, but it's just not in a good state. This particular growth has got a nice bulb, and it has 2 reasonably healthy leaves. This one, however, is going to drop that leaf very soon. It might get some help. So it hasn't got much in the way of greenery. Now behind it is a black hair type Dendrobium, which has got some good buds pushing on up here and up here. So it's going to have a lot of blooms. Another set of buds down here. That's on the latest 2 growths. There's no sign of the next set of new growths yet. They tend to come a bit later in the year. But it's an unnamed hybrid, but it's very similar to Infundibulum, which we will also see later. Now down on this shelf are my Paphiopedilums. So by genus I haven't got a lot. And I have a fair variety. I mean, this one's a large plant with nice mottled leaves. That one back there is a plain one, but again, it's a reasonable sized plant. And then I'd have to see if I can just lift this out a minute, because that doesn't belong here really. We've got Dracula, a letter page, is in this tray. That's that one there. That just won't grow. We've got a tiny little Paphiopedilum with lovely mottled leaves at the back. That doesn't grow very well. And we've got another plain one with long strappy leaves and blackjack. And this Masdevallia is over here because it's the only place it fits. So my Paphiopedilums as a genus aren't doing that bad. I've got one that doesn't grow roots very well at all, but the rest aren't doing bad at all. My only Sarcochilus has just finished blooming. That was in bloom for some time. Got a nice growth pushing on here, several smaller growths that may or may not progress. You know, they might be just young growths that don't push on. This is the main growth. This is the one that's flowered, finished flowering recently. This Masdevallia ignea was potted up differently to normal because it had climbed away from the media and had a lot of aerial roots. And in this atmosphere in here, I don't keep my humidity high enough for those aerial roots to be successful. So I potted the plant down here and then topped the pot with moss so that the aerial roots would stay hydrated. And this is pushing up new growths. It's been in bloom a long time, seems to be doing okay. And then my only mounted Restrepia that actually was successful has got some new growth starting. The other two just didn't make it. So that's that one. So carrying on from the Masdevallias, let's get this out of the way. There we go. The rest of the Masdevallias are in here. They're in two separate trays here. And this is a Dracula, and that one at the back there is also a Dracula. That's Raven, which is almost black and very large. And this is a seedling, Dracula Bella, which has grown a new leaf recently and has started another one. So it is a seedling, but it is starting to progress. So that's that. The others are pretty good. They're not doing bad. The only one that isn't really is this one here, which is another ignea that just won't grow. Good job I've got the other one. So that's that. Now, all of my Miltonopsis are in this tray. None of them are major successes, but just having some that are alive over a period of time is doing better than I ever have before. This is a named variety of a species. This is a strange one because it's Miltonopsis phalaenopsis. But it's not growing very well at all. It keeps pushing up some new growths, but older ones die back and drop their leaves. So it's not a happy plant. Out of the Miltonopsis species, this one likes it a bit warmer. So it's got choices here. It's got the cold in the winter, which would suit it. Perhaps not as well as it ought to. Anyway, the others are hybrids. There's 3 hybrids in there, and there's her Alexander, which is this one here, which currently has 2 spikes. There's one there, you can see. There's another one tucked away in there somewhere. But it currently has 2 spikes. They're not strong spikes, and I'm wondering whether to just take them off. Is it worth stressing those growths, or should I let the growths push on roots instead? Decision to be made. Where are we? Pleiones. Now, a recent genus, started beginning of last year, basically, I think, maybe the year before, but a recent genus. They're all in growth at the moment. We've finished all our blooms and everything. There's a few up here, and some, I mean, if you take this one here, that is in fact, oh, that's a recent one. That came from Mathers on my visit. And it's basically I think there's 2 small bulbs in there. That's to grow on, basically. There's another one back there, single bulb with a single growth. All the rest are down here, and these are all pushing on very well, growing nice leaves and everything. Relatively, I suppose, I'm quite successful with these, but the proof of the pudding will be as we come out of winter next year and we see what sort of flowering we get, because I do have some, like this one here, for instance. We've got 3 bulbs and we've got 3 new growths. So next year we've still only got 3 bulbs. Yeah? So if I can get those bulbs big and fat and absolutely huge, maybe next year we'll get more than 1 growth per bulb. But some are reluctant to bulk up. If you look at the pot behind, you can see the 3 bulbs in the centre there have pushed up many new growths with huge big leaves. So that's a more vigorous one, along with the one we looked at very recently in the Project Orchids video, Tongariro. So relatively speaking, we're doing okay with the Pleiones. Next genus, the Coelogynes. This collection has grown considerably. It's probably at its peak now on the grounds, you know, that they take up space. Some of them are very large plants. Generally, I'm pretty successful with these. I mean, there's one here that's it's not unsuccessful, but it's only got half a leaf left. But it does have a new growth coming. But there's not much of it. And then you get ones like this, where all the bulbs are relatively creased and shriveled. But it's growing new roots, and it's got all these new growths here. Yeah, these are all new growths. So it's, you know, it's doing okay. And then we've got some big ones like this one at the back here. That's got loads of new growths as well. And that's my worst looking one because the bulbs are so shriveled. But again, it's pushing up new growths. It's pushing out roots. So, you know, hopefully it'll recover. Got one in flower here. Don't think they're going to last much longer. They're starting to get brown edges, which is a shame. I mean, that pushed up 4 really huge new growths and only 1 bloomed. So it's a reluctant bloomer, and I was aware of that when I got it. But it's a big plant. Next time it pushes up new growths, it will have the backup of a much bigger, stronger plant. So maybe we'll get more blooms. What else? The other one that's in bloom that's actually this is winning out over this for fragrance. This is Coelogyne nitida, recently opened, and it's filling the grow room with fragrance. Seriously. It's not, in my opinion, people's opinion of fragrances varies, but in my opinion it's not the best fragrance. It's okay. It's not offensive. It's not, oh, let me get away from that sort of thing. But it's not what I would call really pleasant, as opposed to the Miltonopsis that is. That's the other Miltonopsis, by the way. Right, what else have we got? On this tray we've got a couple of Oncidium rescues and my other 3 Restrepias. Those Oncidiums are not doing very well at all. I think there's only one that's got a few roots. They are probably destined for the bin soon. I've had them a very long time and they won't grow. And then down here, this is Nellie-Isla, which is a notorious shriveler and poor root grower. It's been potted up and I'm just waiting for it to do something. All the others are Odontoglossum type Oncidiums that are in various stages of growth. I mean, that dark coloured one there is tiger tail, and it grows one growth that usually blooms and it dies back behind, so it never looks good. It's never got loads of leaves, but I think it's got 2 bulbs with leaves and a new growth, and you can see it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 old bulbs, and that's what it does. More Oncidiums here. This is one that's doing very well. Got a massive roots, grows big bulbs, and is currently pushing up a nice big strong new growth, and that is Masai Red. Not too keen on these marks. And then there's another Oncidium type down there that's probably going in the bin. There wasn't enough room in that tray, that's where I wanted to put it. This is a Brassia hybrid, no ID. That's got a spike coming. There's another spike buried in there somewhere. Ow! Right up the top here. Carrying on with Oncidium types, we've got these two, which are both in full bloom at the moment. Both the same, obviously. This is, well, it's actually, I've got it as Oncidium Sabine Meyer, but it's actually registered as a Gomessa with a different name altogether, and that's the one I believe is registered with the RHS. I've got a feeling this might be the one, the American registration, but it's absolutely gorgeous blooms, absolutely stunning. What else have we got up here? We've got another Prosthechea type there, which is, it says Midnight Star, and that's over here, not with the others, simply because it's got 2 spikes that should come into bloom soon. It's not the happiest of plants, you know, a lot of the old bulbs are losing their leaves, but the latest 2 growths are both going to bloom. And then the back row here are my noblei type Dendrobiums. Now this one here with that big fat cane has got nubbins. I suspect they're all going to end up being kikis. I doubt if it's going to bloom. It's just one that doesn't. It's just not very good. That one next to it, I forget what that one's called. It might not even have a name. And then coming round here, there's another one here. That's my prima donna. That one, that's doing fine. And then this is the one that has the really big flowers. But it only had one this time round. It's got too many old canes on it at the moment, and it's in too big a pot. But if I put it in a really small pot, it'll just keep falling over. So it's a difficult one. And then we've got 2 Dendrobium kikis here. And I've forgotten what they are. The one at the back is Delicatum, and the one at the front is a kiki off one of my black hair types. I think it was Infundibulum. They're both potted up to grow on, which hopefully they will get on and do. And talking of Infundibulum, black hair type, this is it. This one has got its new growth starting here, and it's currently in bloom up here, and we have more buds to come, so it's going to carry on being in bloom. It's been in bloom ages with blooms that have dropped. This one's not too long for this world, but it's got back up, so it's still going to be in bloom for a very long time. Right, that's about it, apart from mounted orchids. Now over here we've got my mouth won't work. Dendrobium jenkinsii has got no new growths, but it has grown some new roots. Lindleyi, again, no new growths, but there's signs of roots growing. Both of those should have had new growths by now. This is my Trigonopus with its bud that looks like it's opening, or starting to. Next to that is a relatively new one that has a nice new growth on it up the top there. very small mount. And then that is a phyllum that's probably going in the bin soon. Although the canes aren't shriveled, they're nowhere near the size they should be, and there is no sign of life at the base of those canes. This is another Prosthechea, but I forget which one. Relatively recent purchase. This is pushing out new growths. They're coming on with new roots, so that'll pick up as the season goes on. This particular Dendrobium was this the one? No, it was this one over here. This one over here was the one that got attacked by a slug and took the growing tip out. Well, that growing tip was back here, and it's carried on. So I didn't lose my growing tip. So we've got a mature cane here that's reached its terminal leaf, and two others that are growing on. And if you look at the base, there's 3 new growths and new roots, so that's doing fine. This is the Hercoglossum that Insa organised for me, and we mounted that and put it in a place where it could stay hydrated to hopefully stop the ends of the canes constricting the leaves and making them crinkle. And in the main, it seems to have done the job, because the new leaves are coming out clean now and not getting all tangled up and not opening properly. As you can see with this previous one here, it's not opened properly, but the latest ones are okay. So that's done the job. It's now pushing on. Insa thinks it might bloom. I doubt it, but I suspect we will have a lot of blooms next year. We may get a few this year, but I don't know. And then this other Dendrobium up here started a new growth, and it's just broken. Just failed, but it's growing new roots, and I suspect it will try again with a new growth. There's plenty of canes. It's got growing canes up here, still pushing on. There's another one here, still growing. So it's got active canes growing. There's a third one tangled up in here, but the first new growth it tried to grow actually failed. So that's that. And then over here are the more miserable failures. That is a twinkle that has a tiny new growth that may pull it back from the brink. We shall see. This Dendrobium has a live cane on it with leaves, but no sign of life at the base, so no new roots, no new growths. This is noblei, the species, Dendrobium noblei, and it's the variety Coelogyne. And the latest growth is pushing on okay and has done roots. So that will make that plant successful, even if it doesn't do a full-size cane this year. I've forgotten what this one is, but again, it's destined for the bin, as is this one. They just won't grow. Now this one is what's left of Miltonia flavescens that Insa organised for me, but this little new growth is actually pushing on. Whether that's going to pull the plant back from the brink or not, I don't know, but it is moving. And then over here is another Miltonia. I don't think it's got a name. Yeah, it's just a hybrid. But each of the last growths are both pushing out new growths now. So again, if those new growths can push on to full size and push out roots that get down into the moss, then it will be successful. We've also got, this is Dendrobium Victoria Regina, that has spent a long time doing absolutely nothing, but we have a tiny little bit of green at the base of this cane. There's a new root pushing out there on the back of there, and we have a little bit of green at the base of this cane. So there are signs of new life on that, which is good, because I mean the canes that are on there have stopped growing basically. They got a bit crinkled, a bit dehydrated, but there's signs of life, so maybe it'll get going again. And then the latest mount, which is I think Psychopsis are in the Oncidium alliance. I can't remember, so long since I've had one, but this was sent as a gift, bare rooted, which doesn't do this type of plant a lot of good at all, but nonetheless we've mounted it up, and buried down in there is a new growth. So it's coming into growth, which should, in addition to that new growth, produce some new roots. You can see that all of these roots are very old and tired. They're not active. They're not active at all. They are hydrating the plant, otherwise it would have completely shriveled by now. It is a little shriveled, but it's got good leaf growth, plenty of leaves on it, so it can photosynthesize and everything. And it's got the 2 spikes, which I've got this mounted, hung at an angle so that the spikes go in and don't keep getting walked into. This spike here, it looks a little bit like the bud is swelling, but if it is, it's doing it at an incredibly slow pace. And then this spike here again has a bud on the end, but there's not a lot of movement going on. This spike is old. This has bloomed many times. This one relatively new. It's probably only had maybe 1 or 2 blooms. Now, whether those spikes are going to push on and carry on growing, I don't know. But it could desperately do with some actually new active roots rather than those old tired ones. So there we go. That's it. That's what we've got. So my Oncidium types, some are doing okay, some are picking up, and some not so much. My Dendrobiums, some are okay, mainly the nobleis, and a couple of the mounted ones are doing okay, and some are abysmal and will probably get dumped. The mounted ones I'm on about. My Vanda's just about hanging in there. My Laelia anceps will hang in there, that's okay. The Brassias that I've got are doing okay, again Oncidium alliance. The Zygos, we've got 1 good one and 2 that may pull on. Paphiopedilum's not doing bad. The only Sarcochilus is doing okay. I would like more, and I may I may get some more from Lynn eventually, but all of her plans for the autumn were totally disrupted by, first of all, losing one of her dogs unexpectedly, and then getting a replacement puppy, which is now dominating life. Completely. So most of the orchid type plans have just gone out the window. It'll all come back again, you know, once the dog starts behaving itself. I mean, eventually Lynn will be able to take the dog for a walk. At the moment it's the other way round. The dog takes Lynn for a walk. Paphiopedilums, not doing bad. 1 not so good, but mostly okay. Probably won't get any more. It is a bit chilly for them in the winter. And then we've got Masdevallias and the odd couple of Draculas. Generally the Masdevallias aren't doing bad, not doing bad. Pleiones doing pretty good. The Coelogynes, generally speaking, pretty good. There's a couple not performing very well, but most are. And yeah, that's about it. Miltonopsis, sort of just about hanging in there, I suppose. This is a good plant. It's been in flower a long time. The bulbs aren't shriveled, but it's going to have to be repotted eventually, and that'll probably ruin it. But there's no sign of new growths yet, which I doubt if there will be while it's in full bloom. So we'll just have to wait for that. And then the other plants that are in here, we've got our little Pinguicula down here, my fly catcher. You can see it catches these little black flies. Beautiful little blooms as a bonus. That's not really why you get them as a carnivorous plant. And then all my Sarracenias are in here as well, including these 2 very strange flowers. Very strange indeed. But they are all growing on. They all got potted up in new media this not that long ago, really, late winter, early spring. Got left a little bit later than they should. And in the main, the new the new tubers are pushing on quite nicely now. Some of the pots just look like they're full of sort of green shoots. Well, these will all turn into tubers eventually. Same here, yeah. All the new tubers haven't opened up yet. This one is just forming its tuber. You can just see the shape forming. So they will all eventually get some nice patterned tubers. Yeah, so they live in here as well. For now, probably permanently. We shall see. So that's what's going on. As I say, a little bit of an unusual video. Trying to keep all the each genus together as a single sort of video clip wasn't really possible, because, as I said, some of them have got you know, members of their little group spread all over the place, like the Oncidiums. They're in many places. But in the main, I hope you got the general gist. The one thing you will have heard in this video is the names of all the genera that I've got. I don't believe I've missed any. Yeah? So that's what I've got. I usually try a new genus each year. That's probably not going to happen this year. First of all, we're middle of May. You know, the growing season's well underway, so starting a new one partway through the year may not happen this time round. There's not many shows left to go to, so that's probably not going to happen this year. But we still might top up some of the you know, genera that I've already got. We shall see. We're having a bit of a funny bit of weather at the moment. It's what the weather people on the TV call gardeners beware. It's threatening a frost tomorrow morning. There was areas, not Scotland, Northern England, but farther south than that were possibly had frost this morning. It was cold here. There's no frost, but yeah, the nights and the mornings are very cold at the moment. So the poor old heater's still having to do its bit, you know, at great expense, of course. We haven't got to the stage where that hardly gets used at all. We haven't got there yet, but it will be soon. You know, the daylight hours are now very long, probably heading up towards the maximum, which is the equinox in June, towards the end of June. So day length is now good. And the idea is that, you know, the weather during the day heats up the land, and all the things on it, buildings, trees, shrubs, all that sort of stuff gets warmed up during the day. And because the nights are so short, it doesn't cool down as much as it could do. Consequently, it avoids the low temperatures, because it's then daylight again and starts warming up. That's what's supposed to happen. But at the moment, yeah, we shall see. Supposed to be rain here later in the day and overnight. Again, I shan't hold my breath. Believe it when I see it. But yes, so that's what's going on in here. And yeah, it's growing season basically. So it's keeping things going. Feed and water well those that need it. And those that don't, because they're not growing very well at all, they don't get it. Yeah. The idea being that if plants are a bit under stress, they're more likely to push out new growths and new roots to try and keep themselves going. But they need enough energy in the basic plant to be able to do that, or they just fail. And some orchids just fail. That's how it is. So as I said, I plan on having a bit of a clear out soon, where I will reevaluate or evaluate each of the weak not so good plants to decide whether I think it's still worth hanging on to it or not. And we will reduce the numbers a bit. Some may get repotted to try and encourage them to get going, and others will just go in, well, I call it the bin, but it's actually the bag. It's my bag for rubbish bits, dead leaves and stuff like that. Now I better go and pick my gadget up and see if it's still working. clattered onto the floor earlier. So anyway, thanks for dropping by and everything. Hopefully this video will get a few more views than yesterday's. Have a look, take a look. The number of views on that video yesterday, which was the final Project Orchids video for Plant 4, I think it's only just made 300. I used to get more views than that 5 years ago when I was a really small channel. So yeah, project not very successful as far as views are concerned. Nonetheless, I would say that this Oncidium is a major success. See you tomorrow for the Sunday chat. Bye for now. Thanks for dropping by.